Welcome to today's Explainer. We're unpacking a highly requested concept from our source material, the Smart Work Blueprint for Financial Freedom. Look, if you've ever felt like you're just stuck on a treadmill, working endlessly day in and day out, but literally feeling no closer to true wealth or independence, then this deep dive is exactly what you need. We're not here to give you vague motivational advice. Instead, we're going to explore the specific, practical strategies laid out in the material for transitioning from exhausting hard work to strategic, wealth-building smart work. It's a fascinating look at how we can fundamentally change the way we operate. So let's jump right in.
Why do most people fail to get rich despite working day and night? It is a pretty painful reality to confront, isn't it? From a very young age, we're basically taught that the absolute secret to success is just to work hard. Put your head down, grind it out, and the money will eventually follow. But the data tells a totally different story. There are millions of people working 50, maybe 60 hours a week, doing heavy labor or pulling double shifts, yet household debt just keeps climbing, and financial freedom stays completely out of reach. Hard work alone is simply not the answer. There's a missing ingredient that separates the truly wealthy from the constantly overworked, and that is exactly what we're going to uncover today.
To find that missing ingredient, here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll shatter the illusion of hard work. Then, contrast the rich versus poor mindset. Next, we'll go through smart work principles, the mechanics of making money for money, people's biggest mistakes, and finally, wrap it all up with your smart work blueprint.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, the illusion of hard work.
To get started, we need to completely reframe how we view effort. The ultimate trap of the modern world is equating physical exhaustion, or just chronological hours spent at a desk, with actual value creation. I mean, think about it. Pushing a massive boulder against a solid brick wall all day is utterly exhausting, but it doesn't actually move you forward a single inch. The traditional model is all about trading time for money. You work an hour, you get paid for an hour. The second you stop working, your income instantly stops. It's a direct, linear relationship, and it's strictly capped because, well, you only have 24 hours in a day. The wealthy approach, on the other hand, relies on building scalable systems. This means putting in the effort once to create a system, maybe a piece of digital content or a business process that continues to generate value and pay you repeatedly, literally while you sleep.
Which brings us to Section 2, the rich versus poor mindset.
Now, what's really interesting here is that you can have all the right business tools in the world, but if your fundamental perspective on wealth and time is flawed, those tools simply are not going to work. The psychological shift has to happen first. The middle-class mindset focuses incredibly heavily on acquiring liabilities. These are things that look like wealth but actually drain your pocket every single month. We're talking about expensive car loans, designer clothes, or oversized mortgages that basically trap you in that daily grind. The millionaire mindset, however, is completely obsessed with building assets. An asset is simply something that puts money into your pocket, regardless of whether you're actively working that day or not. Things like real estate, dividend-paying stocks, or a profitable business. Those are the real engines of financial freedom. So how do you actually begin building those assets? By adopting foundational habits. The source material highlights a really fascinating point. Wealth generation is deeply, deeply tied to daily routines. Take reading daily and continuous learning, for example. It notes that a vast majority of self-made millionaires devote at least 30 minutes a day to reading. And they aren't just reading for entertainment. They're essentially downloading decades of someone else's experience into a few hours to shift their own paradigms. Combine that with high-value networking, which, by the way, isn't just handing out business cards, but surrounding yourself with people who normalize high achievement, along with strict discipline and health management. True income-producing activities stem directly from these rock-solid foundational routines.
Let's transition over to Section 3, smart work principles.
Think of this as your solution toolkit. These are the specific mental models the wealthy use to turn a perfectly normal amount of human effort into massive, disproportionate results. And the absolute core of smart work is leverage. Think of leverage as your magical tool. It's the strategic use of technology, artificial intelligence, the vast reach of the internet, social media, and team building to multiply the outcome of your effort without multiplying your time. Archimedes once said that with a lever long enough, he could move the world. Well, today, that lever is digital. If you write a piece of code or create a great instructional video, 1 million people can consume it, but it took you the exact same amount of time to make it for one person. That is leverage right there, and it is exactly how you break out of the time for money trap forever.
Moving right along to Section 4, making money from money. Once you start applying that leverage we just talked about, you move away from relying entirely on a single salary, and you open up multiple, cascading streams of income. And the ultimate holy grail goal of those streams is passive income. These are earnings derived from digital products, investments, royalties, or automated businesses where you are not actively trading your daily hours. Now, it is important to point out that active income is completely necessary for survival at the start. We all have to pay the bills. But passive and investment income is what actually buys your freedom. You decouple your earning potential from your physical time, and your money literally becomes your hardest working employee.
100x. Let the sheer mathematical power of compounding sink in for just a second. When you apply leverage to passive income streams and combine that with the daily habits and continuous skill growth we discussed, your wealth doesn't just add up, it multiplies. Getting just 1% better every day compounds to being 37 times better by the end of a single year. Expand that over a few years, and those small, consistent, smart steps yield massive 100x returns in both your capabilities and your bank account. It's basically a slow burn that suddenly ignites.
But of course, it's not always a perfectly smooth journey, which leads us to Section 5, People's Biggest Mistakes. It is remarkably easy to actively sabotage our own financial freedom without even realizing we're doing it. And honestly, we've all been guilty of falling into these modern traps. Relying solely on one job for survival, that leaves us incredibly vulnerable. Focusing only on cutting expenses instead of finding ways to increase our income, that creates a massive scarcity mindset rather than an abundance one. Then there's wasting precious hours endlessly scrolling on social media instead of producing content to use as leverage, or ignoring investments in our own skills, or fearing literally all calculated risks because we are just too afraid to step outside our comfort zone. Recognizing these missteps is absolutely crucial because they are the very chains keeping us tied to that illusion of hard work.
So let's go ahead and break those chains. Welcome to Section 6, your Smart Work Blueprint.
Let's see how this builds. This is where we lay out the highly actionable, chronological plan found in the source material to successfully transition from the daily grind to genuine financial independence. First up, your 30-day goal. Start learning. This is all about unlearning bad habits, changing your media diet, reading books, and grasping the financial basics. Then, at 90 days, build skills. Pick one high-leverage skill, like coding, digital marketing, or investing, and master the fundamentals through deep work. In 1 year, grow multiple incomes. This is the big pivot where you launch that side hustle or make your first real investments. And finally, at the 5-year mark, achieve financial freedom. This is when the compounding effect truly takes over. Let's be clear, this is absolutely not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a structural, highly realistic life change.
What I find so incredibly fascinating in the source material is that this isn't just theory. Real people are executing this across completely different paths right now. You do not have to fit into one specific box. You can be the entrepreneur building a scalable business with a dedicated team. You can be the investor making money purely from market compound interest and smart asset allocation. You can be the digital creator using the internet as your massive lever to reach millions. Or you can be the freelancer, strategically transitioning from low-paid hourly tasks to high-value productized services. This blueprint adapts seamlessly to whatever your strengths are.
As we bring this explainer to a close, there is a specific quote from our deep dive today that I really want you to burn into your memory. Don't just do more work, do more of the right work. This is the absolute core formula for achieving financial autonomy. It's time to stop measuring your worth by how physically exhausted you feel at the end of the day. Instead, start measuring your progress by the leverage you've utilized, the assets you've acquired, and the systems you've systematically built.
I want to leave you with this final emotionally charged question to reflect on. Are you working for money, or is money working for you? If you are still trading every single hour of your life just to pay the bills, it is time to change the equation. Take that very first step on the 30-day blueprint today. Start building your leverage. Start working smart. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I honestly can't wait to see what you build.